Okay. Hi, this is Commander Rusty Dog, and welcome to Robert's Enterprise at the Timbledaris system. But all of that is irrelevant, because this is another video about Voiceattack. And in this one, I thought we'd cover some more different stuff. I'm not going to say more advanced, although I suppose it is. But different stuff. Something that I touched on as well in the previous video regarding setting conditions or variables for doing things in Elite. And then I got to thinking that you probably wouldn't really need to use it. But I'm going to come to that later on. And if you want to use them, then I'm going to show you how to use them. I hope I'm going to show you, because I've only touched on it myself yesterday, and I think I know. And it's just basically a little bit of logic, and that's all it is. So, and I also want to try and start showing you how to create your own voice pack. Is that what you're going to call it? Yeah, your own profile on Voiceattack that has a pack. No. Your own profile on Voiceattack that has your own commands with speech, if you have some decent speech profiles on your PC. If not, just use the standard ones that come with Windows. But let's not jump ahead. And what I want to do first is go out to the menu, simply because it kills the game audio. We won't have that humming in the background all the time. And also, Voiceattack is obviously a voice controlled software that will press your buttons for you, basically. And that's what it does. It's like a key press joystick button simulator, basically, is what it does. And it's done it through the voice. And I've got, the way mine is set up is I have a Thrustmaster T16000M joystick, simply for the fact that I'm left-handed, and you can reverse the base and the grip on this joystick for left-handed people, which is brilliant. And the only reason I don't use a HOTAS is because they don't do a left-handed or ambidextrous HOTAS. So screw them, the manufacturers. For the SRV, if you've watched my previous videos, you will know that I use a game controller. Specifically, mine is an Xbox game controller, USB, and keyboard, obviously, for the rest of the functions, which I'm thinking about remapping for combat. But maybe I'll touch on that in another video. These buttons, yeah, maybe I'll touch on that in another video once I've tried it. I'll try it and see if it works, and if it doesn't work out for me, then I won't even bother. I'll just put everything back, and there will be no video. Okay. So, unless you have is it eidetic or photographic memory, where you can remember all of these, then like me, you'll have to have a way of, printing them out, having them on a piece of paper in front of you. You don't have to, but it's really handy to do it. But taking screenshots of each time, it's too much work. So, thankfully, there's a way around it. So let's have a look. I need to go here. I don't know why Firefox is open, but let's close that. Okay, so we have this site, mcd.net/elite. However, before we go there, I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to, I believe it is voiceattack.com. Okay, this is the software that you need. just buy it. It's brilliant. I mean, you can get it free for 21 days, but I didn't even bother. I knew I wanted it, and the price, it's massive. Yeah, it's a whopping $10. Whew. Yep, massive. So for that price, for me, it was a no-brainer. And you don't restrict Voiceattack to just Elite Dangerous, of course. You can use it in anything, in any game, or even in the Windows environment. You can use it for anything you want, really. So do buy it. It's really, really worth it. Now then, about your keys. Well, your keybinds are stored in this file, custom 0.1.8 binds, and it's in this folder. So let me go there. Oh, so I'm going to go here, choose file. Now there may be some blurring here to hide some of my personal stuff. I think that's okay. But in the top here, I'm going to put this and then press return. And you can see here I've got the binds. Now you can put them in date modified and you'll see that the custom 1.8 binds is the one that's the most recent. That is the one you need. Forget any others. Okay, and then you just click open, and there it is. Now you've got some advanced options. So I just leave them all on, and I'm going to choose, for me, I'm going to choose use colors to show different types of control, or use colors to show different modifiers. Well, let me try this one. Make these bindings available to everyone. Well, I don't need to do that, so I'm going to tick that off. And now I'm going to just press generate a reference sheet. This is brilliant. Watch this. Look at that. It recognized my control. And yeah, these are my controls. I've got nothing mapped to these buttons whatsoever, because with my right hand on the keyboard, I haven't got time to go over for them. I've got nothing mapped on the throttle thing because it's in too much of an awkward position. Prefer using the keys. And it knows I'm using an Xbox controller for the SRV. I nearly said SUV there. And coming down, here are my keyboard bindings. And it's not until you get... Oh, let me find it now. Oh, it's changed it around. On the UI, you've got ship. Has it changed it? Ew. I'm sure what I was looking for last time was around the middle. You'll see up here I have my primary weapons. That's on my trigger. That goes behind the joystick there. But my secondary weapons, it says here numpad enter. Oh, I do have it mapped to numpad enter. That is right. However, I also have it mapped to space. And it got it right last time. So why hasn't it got it right this time? Let me go back one and choose use colors to show different types of control and generate a new one. Just give it a couple of seconds. Okay, so now we've got colors, which is all fine and dandy. This is kind of strange. I've got two keys. It doesn't really matter because, you know, Voiceattack will use either. But I've got my space bar is my primary key for secondary weapons, and numpad enter is my second choice. And yet it's brought that out. And the first time I did this, it brought out space. I wonder why that is. Okay. So you can have this, and you can either print that out for reference or just keep it in front of you for reference with Voiceattack in the front, and you can see your keys at a glance. Brilliant. You don't even have to be in the game, although you probably want to be. So, should we start? Now that we've done that, now we've got our keyboard bindings, which is really good. You can save this, or if you have an Adobe PDF printer, you can just print it to a PDF file. Anything like that. Let me just take a quick drink. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my Elite Verity profile here, which is my standard one, and she's asleep at the moment. And we're going to create a brand new one. So let's drop this down, and we're going to go to create a new profile from scratch with nothing. And I'm going to call this one Horizons, simply because I've already got one called Elite Dangerous, and I need a new command in order to save this profile. So let's click on a new command. So what can be the first thing that we want to do? Well, we can do something simple, I suppose. Let's start with something really simple. Something I can do while I'm in the docking station, which is where I am right now. How about this one, external camera, which is left control and backslash, or forward slash, I don't know, backslash. Yeah, backslash, left control backslash. So external camera, let's create that one. So I'm going to minimize here. So it's going to happen when I say now here's the thing, I was going to have it say let's go outside. I could, but then if I want it to go back into the ship, I don't want to be saying let's go outside again, although that would work. So what can I use as a I could set up two commands. I could say let's go outside and let's go back in, which would put it out and do it in. They'd both be exactly the same. They'd both be the key press Control L. Control backslash. They'd both be exactly the same. But I'd have two commands doing the same thing. Now you can do that, no problem. But, you know, whatever your preference is. I'm going to say switch cameras, or switch camera. Okay, now it's going to simulate the key press, Control and backslash. Okay, I'll just press that as normal, and there it is. And that's all you have to do. You press OK, click done, and there it is, ready. Now I'm going to wake it up manually because I haven't given it any commands to wake up yet. So let's do that. We'll pop into the game. We don't need to be here anymore. Okay, let's try it. Switch camera. Now of course you need to press OK here. But you can have a little wander around and just fly around as normal, and then when you're done, switch camera, and there we go, nice and easy. Okay, so maybe we can ramp this up a little bit. Let's try switching this off. This is a load of rubbish. So let's edit the profile. Now, enable this to add a keyboard shortcut to your command. Now you don't need to do this for everything, but this is so that if you do it within the game, it will acknowledge it here. I believe that's how it's done. So, how do we know that? Well, let's try and see if I'm right. We're going to add another command here that once it switches camera, it's going to say something with text to speech, and it's going to say camera switched. Now I use this vocalizer Expressive Serena Premium High. You might want to Google that if you want to see where I got it from. I think it's free, or if it's not free, it doesn't cost too much, I don't think, but it might be a paid for voice, I'm not sure. But that you can use any of these voices. The default ones sound a bit more robotic, but it's better than nothing. And you can even choose wait until the speech completes before continuing the command. That is if you put the speech first, so you can have the voice say something, but then it doesn't actually do it until it's finished talking. So you can do that. Okay, so basically now when I say switch camera, it's going to do it, and then it's going to acknowledge it vocally. Okay, so let's try that out. Switch camera. Oops, I keep forgetting to wake it up. Switch camera.
Camera switched.
Okay, and we'll go back. Switch camera.
Camera switched.
Okay. Now, if my theory is correct, and don't put any money on it, I'm going to press Control and backslash here. Oh, wait a minute, what did that say? Do not allow key to be passed through. The key that you press is handled by Voiceattack and not passed through for other applications. We might have to fiddle with that. Let's have a look. So now I'm not going to speak the command. I'm just going to press the key.
Camera switched.
There you go. I didn't say anything.
Camera switched.
So now Voiceattack has recognized that I've pressed that.
Camera switched.
And still executes the...
Camera switched.
Still executes the rest of the command. It obviously doesn't press it again, because otherwise we'd be competing with each other. Alright, so there's that. So that was easy. So let's try something else. So a new command, and you can make these commands as complex as you want, really. We know that from the docking station you only have to press the space, well for me the space bar, to get to the starport services. So when I say starport services, which is spacebar. So when I say starport services, it's going to press the spacebar for me. Now, what you can't do is put a voice command here saying going to starport services, because I also use the spacebar for my secondary weapons, and I don't want it to say going to starport services every time I open fire with my multi-cannons. So it's not going to really work that way. Okay, so I'm not going to use this either, because I don't need to. There's no voice and there's nothing else here that's, I don't need it. So, starport services, press the space. But I might want to say other things. So I'm going to separate my command with a semicolon. So I can either say starport services, or I can say go to services, semicolon, services. So if I say any of these variations, it should do it. So starport services, go to services or services. Let's try. Starport services. Okay, we'll come out. Go to services. Same thing. And of course, services. Now, because it only presses the space bar, it presumes that you're there, that your UI is pointing to there, and not there, and not there. Because now if I say that command, it'll launch the ship instead. And because this is a rotating menu, I just keep pressing down, 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 down. It's just flipping around. There's no real way to ensure that that is going to be there. There's no mouse pointer on the screen that I can make it go there. So you have to maybe just have docked, and you don't say it until you know you're in the right position to say it. Because otherwise, services. You see? It doesn't work. I suppose we could stay here. Actually, I'm going to enter the hangar. I just feel a bit safer like that. Okay. Now let's address this issue of getting Voiceattack to wake up and go to sleep, to start listening or stop listening. So you can say wake up, go to sleep, if you want to make it sound more personal, or you can just say stop listening or start listening. Or you can use both commands for either. So let's set those up. So edit the profile. You see how we've got multi-part here? It's created 3 separate commands. So new command. So when I say wake up, or when I say start listening, I should have done it the other way around first actually. I should have made it stop first. I don't want it to press a key. I want it to go to other, Voiceattack actions, okay, and make Voiceattack start listening. That's all. And I can duplicate this now to stop, oops, go to sleep, or stop listening. Okay, and we'll just double click this and change it to make Voiceattack stop listening. Okay, so now we've created these two, and go to sleep and wake up. So we can try it from here. Right at the moment it's off, so wake up, go to sleep, start listening, stop listening. And you can assign voices to that as well if you want. I think start listening and stop listening is probably not something I'd want to assign a voice to, but go to sleep and wake up. So for go to sleep, we'll add text to speech. So when I say go to sleep, what can we have the computer say? Go to sleep. How about just something like, okay, comma, catch you later. Alright, something like that, whatever. and on the wake up, other voice attack action. Sorry, no, sounds. Say something with text to speech, and this is for the wake up, which is I'm here. Now notice it's got start listening here as well, so I think they're both it's gonna respond to both, really. How about I'm here, Commander? And click OK. Click Done. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Go to sleep.
Okay, catch you later.
Right. Now let's look at something to do with what I was talking about before, which is the variables. Now, or conditions, we'll call it. Now, when I press Control L on my keyboard, I get my lights. When I press it again, it switches them off, as you know. I think the default is L, but I've got mine with the qualifier control key. Now, the easiest way to set up this command is just to use the word lights. So when you say lights, it switches them on. When you say it again, it switches them off. Okay? But if you want to get more complex, and I don't know why you would, because lights is just nice and simple. But if you don't know whether you've left them on, you might be in an asteroid field or in space, and you don't know whether you've left them on or not. The only way to find out, because you can't really see your light beam, is to go to here, and then, go to here, and then it tells you here whether your lights are on or off, which isn't really ideal. Okay, so we need to set up two commands, one for lights off and one for lights on. But it has to be that if your lights are on and you say lights on, that Voiceattack already knows that they're on and tells you. Now this is not an infallible system here, so we might be able to get around it by setting up. I'll make myself clear in a minute. When we set up when I press keys, so that if I do it within the game, it knows, but it won't, will it? Because when I press Control L, it won't know whether I've set them on or off. They're off by default when you start the game. So if you have got Voiceattack running and you press Control L for the first time, there's no way, really, that I can think of that you can make Voiceattack recognize that that key press was to turn them on. So again, it's not infallible. You could have them switched on, for example, and then say lights off. You could manually switch them on and then say lights off, and it'll think they're on and it'll be all in reverse. But I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. I'm going to try to. So the first command is going to be lights on. So this is you actually just wanting to switch them on. So we have to set up conditions. And there's three conditions, I believe. There's checking whether they're on, checking whether they're off, and, well, let me say that a different way. I've just said that in a really bad way. We set up a variable called lights, okay, and the default value for that lights variable is 0. And when the lights get switched on, then lights equals 1. When they're switched off, lights equals 0. Okay? But at the beginning, when you launch Voiceattack, that state of 1 or 0 hasn't been set up. So it has to check that. And then depending on what you've said, it will set that state. Okay, And if anyone's confused, don't worry, it will become clear. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, so to switch the lights on, first we begin a conditional block. Okay. Ooh, am I in the right place now? No. Wait a minute, let me think. I might have just thought of another way to do this, you know. I think I've just thought of a better way to do this than I did it yesterday. By setting the variable first. I'm just trying to make sure there's no pitfalls in doing that. If I set the light status first to 1, no, let's just go with this. So the variable name is lights, or you could call it light status. Let's call it light status. So begin a conditional block. So basically, if light status equals 0, in other words, if the lights are off. Oh, this is different to the No, why has it got an end condition there? That's different to what I looked at yesterday. Oh, dear God, I'm going to have to go through this. I'm going to have to go through this. I'm going to have to just, go through it with you. So, okay. It wasn't ending the condition. I had to end the condition manually yesterday. I did do it on my laptop, and I'm pretty sure we both got the same versions of Voiceattack. I hope mine's fully up to date. Anyway, so, okay. So basically this is a block of stuff. We're going to put stuff inside here. What to do if the lights are off? Well, the first thing to do is to switch them on. So we're going to do a key press, which is Control L. Okay? And that should be up. There we go. So it's going to press the key, because it's going to say, okay, fine. He wants the lights on. The lights are off. So in the condition that the lights are off, I'm going to press the button to switch them on. Now I have to oh God, set a text value, right? Okay. Variable name, and it was light status. This isn't right. This isn't right. This is all different. I'm so sorry about this. It's not set. It wasn't yesterday. Would this work? Set a truth. Set a small integer condition value. Yeah, let's try it with this. And we're going to set it to 1, which turns the lights on. And then we're going to have a voice to that saying lights on. So that's that block. Oh, I tell you what. I won't know if it works until until I say lights on while they're already on. So I'm going to set up another block now. I'm going to tell it what to do if the lights are already on. So if all this square, that this dialog is basically if. Alright, so if light status equals 1, in other words, if they're already on, you know what it should do here is not just end the condition, but it should end and exit. When this block is reached, exit if the condition is met. Okay, so what it's saying there is it'll press the key, set the light status to 1, say lights on, and then exit. In other words, it will ignore the rest of what I'm typing here. Okay, we want to do this here as well. Begin. So right, so basically then if the lights are on, I'm sorry if I'm doing this really bad, but I wasn't expecting this to look different from my other one. So if the lights are already on, we don't need to press the key because they're already on. And the value will already be set to 1, so we don't need to reset that. So all we need to do is add the voice saying the lights are already on. Okay, and then here we'll end the condition and we'll exit if that condition is met. So again, when I say lights on, if they're off, put them on, set the variable to 1 so that the voice attack knows they're on, and then say tell me lights are on. However, if that condition is not right, if the lights don't equal 1, in other words if they are on, then it'll carry on, it won't exit, and it'll come here and it'll say if the light status is 1, then it'll say the lights are already on, and then it will exit from there. But there's another one. If it has no state. Now I set this up yesterday quite easily. Now then, it was see, we've got add an else now, which I could do as well, but I've not done that before. But you could combine those two in this in an else conditional block. Begin a conditional block, variable name. Okay, I think I know what it is now. Light status has not been set. Okay, so if the light status has not been set, alright, and we don't need to put exit here on this one because it's already going to be the last command. So if it hasn't been set, then it can just do this. It can put them on, set it to 1, and say lights on. So let's duplicate that, and we'll duplicate that, and we'll duplicate. Oh, I've done the wrong thing. Let me just delete that. I'll take that one, duplicate, and now lights on, and we'll duplicate that. So we got 2 of everything here. So we'll bring this one down, and we'll bring this one down. We'll keep them in the same order, obviously, although it's not going to really make too much of a difference. Now we've got to do the same for lights off. Oh joy. Okay, so if the lights are off, switch them on and say lights on. Go away. If the lights are already on, then just tell me, and then exit. But if the status has not been set, in other words, if it's the first time I've asked you, then obviously the light status has to be set to 1, Should we try it? Yeah. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
If this works, I'll take another sip of my tea. Lights on.
Lights on.
Okay, now I'm going to ask it to switch them on again. Lights on.
The lights are already on.
There you go. Done. Lights off. Hasn't got a clue. Now, one of the reasons you would put the key to go with that, Control L, is so that when you press it, it can check the state and then say lights off or lights on all by itself. But I don't even know if that's going to work. So let me see if we can make life a bit easier by duplicating this entire command, and we're going to call it lights off. And all we have to do is change all these values, change the zeros to ones and everything. So we're going to switch the lights off, okay? So basically, if the light status is 1, okay, so that's basically saying if the lights are on, then press the key, set the value to 0, to tell Voiceattack that they're off, and now say lights off. Okay, and then we can end that and exit. If the status of the lights are already off, in other words, if light status is 0, then just say the lights are already off. You idiot. Well, you could put that if you want. You can just play around. And again, if it's not been set, well, the lights are off by default. So this will be different, because it's going to have to say the lights are already off. Because the only time that the light status has not been set is if you've never said this command before. And to make this work, you'll have to have not said it while the lights were off. Okay. So, if it hasn't been set, we don't need to press the key because we know they'll already be off, so we can delete that. Set the small, now we're going to set it to 0, and we're going to say the lights are already off. The reason that's different, again, as I've said, is because by default the lights are off anyway. Okay, so let's try those two commands out as they are. I'm going to switch them off like this manually. Okay, lights on. Was it asleep? Yeah, okay, I'll wake it up from here. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Lights on.
The lights are already on.
No, they're not really. Lights off. This has gone mental. Lights on.
The lights are already on.
Oh, I know why. It's because it is right. I switched them off manually, didn't I? And Voiceattack has remembered the state they were in the last time. So it thinks they are already on. So it's correct. I shouldn't have switched them off manually. Lights off. Lights off. What now? Oh, I haven't clicked done. If you don't click done, it doesn't process the new command. Okay, so we're still alright. Lights off.
Lights off.
Lights off.
The lights are already off.
Lights on.
Lights on.
Lights off.
Lights off.
Lights on.
Lights on.
Lights on.
The lights are already on.
There you go. That's the logic. Lights off.
Lights off.
And that's how you set that up. So, if I was to quit Voiceattack and go back in, the state of the lights, the light status, would be not set. But right now it knows. So let me just see if this is going to work with the keys. So I'm going to put Control L here. And I'm also going to put it here. I don't think it's going to work. I can't see how it's going to work. The only way I think it will work is if it knows the state of the lights already. Well, lights on.
Lights on.
Okay, so it does know the state. Now I'm going to press the key manually. Now it didn't say anything, but does it know that they're now off? Lights off.
Lights off.
No, it doesn't. So, as I suspected, having the key here, I wonder if I can set another block or set another thing. I don't know if there's any way around this. Okay, maybe. Maybe just by putting this down here, okay? Because that might sound weird, but that might work. Because this is the end, so there's nothing else to come after this. So to have it say lights on anyway, you might as well do it. Because if these two conditions are met, 1 and 0, it will have already exited. And it won't even get to here. So the only time it gets and says this is after it's done this anyway. So that means if I say it, it's going to say that anyway. Let me just try this. I know this sounds a bit weird, but this might work. And it's not going to work here though. Because here it just says the lights are already off. You know what? It might work if I exit and then add another command. This is just pure guesswork right now. And I'm sorry if it's a bit complex, but if you leave me a comment, I will help you out. So basically, the only time that this gets said is when I press this key. And it doesn't need to simulate the press because I've done it manually. Let's see if this logic works, or if my brain is completely screwed. I don't know what state it thinks it's in right now. Lights on.
Lights on.
Lights off.
Lights off.
I'm going to try saying it again now. Lights off. Lights off.
The lights are already off.
Now I'm going to press them on manually.
The lights are already off.
Of course. Of course it's going to say them both. What if I put a conditional that only to say this? If it equals 1, but then it won't because it's already saying it here. So yeah, it's not going to work basically. So we can delete this and remove that, and then on the lights on I just need to pop that back up there. So yeah, that doesn't work. So you can confuse it. If I find a way around that, I'll let you know. Lights off,
Lights off.
lights on,
Lights on.
lights on, lights on,
The lights are already on.
lights off,
Lights off.
lights off.
The lights are already off.
Okay. Right, let's move on to something else. Okay. Before we move on to anything else, I think I might have found a way to have Voiceattack recognize that you've switched the lights on within the game. I know this is a lot of complex stuff just for lights, but it can be applied to anything. So I'm going to set up a new command. But instead of when I say, I'm just going to put two squiggly brackets like that and call it lights. And because they're in two squiggly brackets, it means when I say that, it won't even acknowledge it. Okay? So it'll basically ignore that. But it's when I press Control L. So when I press that key, what I want to do is set up a block, a conditional block that says if light status equals 1 or 0, let's leave it at 0. If it equals 0, then that means the current status. If the current status is 0, it's going to have to set it to something else. So, excuse me, set it to 1. In other words, change the condition from 0 to 1 because I've pressed the key. So I've changed the status by doing that. I've changed the light status within the game. And now just for acknowledgement purposes, just say lights on. Okay, and now we can exit this as well as end it. However, when I press the key Control L, if the lights were on, in other words, if the light status was 1, then we have to switch it to the other way, which is to 0. And then we'll have a voice, sounds, saying lights off. And now what we've got is when I press the key manually, it will check, are they off? Then switch them on. Leave, exit, go. If they're not off, then they must be on. In other words, switch them off and then say lights off. And that light status will be changed within Voiceattack, so that when I say it next time with the voice, it will know. Let's see if that works. So, I'm going to do it by voice first. Lights on. Oops. Wake up. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Lights on.
Lights on.
Lights off.
Lights off.
Okay, I'm just going to check for error. Lights off.
The lights are already off.
Perfect. Now I'm going to press them on myself now.
Lights on.
Oh, of course. It didn't do it.
Lights off.
Because, of course, I still have to simulate the key press. So in here, because the reason I have to, where is it? The reason I have to still have Voiceattack do the key is because I have passed control of that command to Voiceattack. So let's put that in again. So basically Voiceattack is taking over the key press for me. There we go. Okay. So again, vocally I'll switch them on, and then I'll use my fingers to switch them off on the keyboard. And then I'm gonna switch them on vocally, switch them off manually, and then I'm gonna tell it to switch them off and see if it knows that they're already off. Lights on.
Lights on.
Okay, and I'm gonna press them off.
Lights off.
Lights off.
The lights are already off.
Okay, well I'm gonna put them on again with my keyboard.
Lights on.
Lights on.
The lights are already on.
There you go. I figured it out. Lights off.
Lights off.
And now
Lights on.
I can
Lights
do
off.
it.
Lights on. Lights off. Lights on. Lights off.
lights off.
The lights are already off.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you that again. Basically, when it's in these brackets, it will ignore anything that I say, and it will just do this. It'll just set this condition. When I press this key, do this. I want you to press the key. Excuse me. I want you to press the key in either case. But when I press the button, check if the lights are off, and if they are, switch them on. Or check if, and then check if the lights are on, and if they are, switch them off. That's all it's doing. All right. So, let's now try random responses. Something else that's new to me. Let's forget the lights. Oh, and the other thing you might want to do when you're setting up new commands is categorize them. So, for example, lights off.
The lights are already off.
Okay. Go to sleep.
Okay, catch you later.
Okay, so this one you might want to put in as ship commands and just call it lights off, whatever. Okay, so we'll put it under that category. Okay, so now we've got categories, so we'll put this one there as well. I don't think I need to go into description. This turns the lights on. You know, you don't really need to do that. Switch camera, you could set a different category for that one. You could call it game command rather than a ship command. Services probably be a game command. Go to sleep and wake up would probably be voice attack commands. So you can just have different categories that you can keep them sorted. So let's look at multiple responses. Something I have not done before, but I think I know how to do it. Okay. Now I'm just going to set this up where you get a random response from the voice, from the text to speech. But if you've got MP3 files or WAV files, you can use those instead. So I need a command that I can have a random response to. How about something like hello. So let's say I want to name my voice thing. Hello, I don't know what to call her. Holly. So when I say hello Holly, okay, I want to get a few different responses. So I'm just going to leave that blank. I'm going to set up another one that I want to have it ignore. So, and we're just going to call this hello Holly, not Dolly. So hello Holly. And for this, we're going to set a random variable. So let's say I want 3 different responses to when I say hello Holly. I want 3 different responses. So I need to set a condition value, and I'm going to call it hello Holly. That's what the variable is going to be called, and I think I might need that later, so I'm going to copy that into memory. And you can set 0 to 2, that's still 3, but I'm going to set 1 to 3. Okay, so 3 different responses. So basically what this is going to do is generate a random value between 1 and 3 for this variable. Okay? Now, of course, just setting that is not enough. You can't just have it set a value from 1 to 3. We have to now tell it what to do when any of those conditions are met. So let's do it. So we're going to begin a conditional block. So if, and we're just going to paste that in. So it's basically, this is basically throwing a dice with 3 sides, or a die with 3 sides, okay? And it's coming up with a random number, 1, 2, or 3. So what I'm saying is here, if the value that you come up with is 1, then now here you can tell it to play a sound. This is where you locate your MP3 file or your WAV file, and you tell it to play that file. Or you could have it do anything. Anything of these. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the usual text-to-speech, and the first command is, the first response will be hello there. Okay, that's the first one. And on here, once it's done that, it can exit. It doesn't need to bother looking at the others. So let's set up the next one. Okay, so if, let's just paste that again, if it equals 2, now we need to add a sound. And instead of saying hello there, when I say hello Holly, we can have it say greetings, Commander. Now you would probably use random responses for speech more than anything else, I would say. I can't see why you'd need to say something to your ship, a ship's function, like fire, and have it fire either your primary or your secondary, and you don't know which one it's going to do. But you could do that. Okay, so let's set up the last one. So we're going to go to advanced and begin a conditional block. And we're going to say if hello Holly equals 3. And what do we want it to do? We want it to say, so hello there, greetings Commander, and hi, oops, don't know how we got into caps, how are you today? Okay, so 3 possible commands. Oops, you know what I didn't do? Yep, I've made a mistake here, haven't I? This needs to go up. And also, inside here, double click it, I need to exit. And this one I don't need to, you can exit, but you don't need to, because it's already the last command. So, it basically now the hello Holly I don't know what to call this. It's not really a command really, because it's just going to be ignored, but what this does is it sets a value, a random one, between 1 and 3. And if that random value turns out to be 1, it'll say hello. If it turns out to be 2, it'll say greetings. If it turns out to be 3, it'll say hi, how are you? Simple as that. Now the bit where we say hello Holly, which is this one, and I didn't give it a category, but I could have done. All it has to do is go to other, and it should be voice attack action, execute another command, and it's the one we set up. There it is. It's the only one that's there, the hello Holly one, and that's it. So if I say that, if I say these words, hello Holly, it's going to execute that block that we set up. So let's give it a go. Hello Holly.
Greetings, Commander.
Hello Holly.
Hello there.
Hello Holly.
Hello there.
Hello Holly.
Hi, how are you today?
Okay. So that's how you set up random responses. So, should we carry on setting up some more stuff in Elite Dangerous? Let's do the engine management pips. So, I think one of the most important ones in engine management is the reset. I don't know why. In fact, it's probably the least important now that I think about it, because when we tell it to set up pips, it has to start from the reset position anyway. But let's set it up. So reset systems. We've got engines, we've got weapons, and we've got systems, haven't we? So reset power, probably. That might be a bit confusing, saying reset power. But I'm going to have mine set up so that when I say power to engines, power to shields, power to systems, power to systems and power to weapons. So I want to keep that flow going. I want to be able to know that it's power when I say power. So the key press is simply the default, which is the down arrow key. So I'm just going to press the down arrow key. Okay. And if you want a voice response, again, just add one in, text to speech, and just say power reset. Okay, with whatever voice you choose. You can even change the rate of the speech, how quick it's said, and the volume. So if you can see my power is not reset. I've got priority to engines with second priority to systems. We're going to be setting that up as well. We're going to be setting up different scenarios. And you can word it as you want, but I think I've got a way to do it. So, reset power. Oh, is it asleep? Yeah, it is. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Reset power. Ooh. Reset power. What have I done wrong? When I say reset power. Oh, I haven't pressed done. You have to press it. If you don't press it, it won't. Yeah. You have to press it. Reset power.
Power reset.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm in, let's say, a combat scenario, which is when you're really going to need to use them. Okay? And I want to apply power to the weapons, but the rest of the pips, I want them to go into engines. Okay, so maybe my shields are down, so I don't need to put them there. I might as well just try and get out of there. I need maneuverability, whatever situation I'm in. Well, from the reset position, if I just go right and right again, I get this. I get a pip to engines and a pip to systems. So I could then go up, up, right, but that's a bit awkward. So what's the quickest way from the default position? I think it's up, up, right, right, right. Now don't forget, this is going to happen really quickly. So up, up, right, right, right. That's 5 key presses after you've reset. Okay, so let's try a different way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you could do that way if you want. But I'm quite happy going. Let me tell you how I work this out. I want power to weapons and secondary to engines. So what I do is I give full power to my secondary first, and then I go to the primary. That's the logic I'm going to be using. So if I want power to engines and secondary to systems, I'm going to go full systems and then full engines. That's the logic I'm going to be using here. So from a reset position, if I want power to weapons and the rest in engines, then it's up, up, right, 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 because I'm using the cursor keys for the power management, okay? But you have to reset first. To get there, I mean, if you're here, it's not going to be, oh yes, it will be actually. But if I'm in this situation and I go up, up, right, 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 it still bloody works. There must be a situation where it doesn't. Okay, I've already got engine priority on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, it doesn't work. So it has to be done from a reset position. So I want to say, I can either say engine priority weapons or engine weapons. Engine weapons is weird, so engine priority weapons. So basically I'm telling it what its priority is, and the second priority is set to weapons. So the key press is going to be down because it resets the power. Then the next key press is, what was it? Oh yeah, it's 2 up. So up, up, and then key press right. And we need 3 of these, so I'm just going to right click and do duplicate and duplicate. Okay? So engine priority weapons should put me there, and I click done and switch it on. Okay, now let's go somewhere weird. There. Engine priority weapons. Bang. Let me try saying it again just to make sure that if I say it in the heat of battle it's still going to get it. Engine priority weapons. No problem. I just said it a little bit quicker there because I've got it the wrong way around. How many of you noticed that? Probably everybody. Weapon priority engines. Priority engines. There you go. Weapon priority engines. Now, sometimes I might want weapon priority shields, which is that. So let's do that one. So from a default position, it's left, left, right, right, right. Okay, so it's basically the same as the last command, only instead of up, it's going left. So let's duplicate it, and instead of it being called this, we're going to say weapon priority shields, or systems. You could say whatever you like, but this is whatever you're going to say as you put it here. So instead of up, we'll just double click that and we'll change it to left, and we'll double click that and change that to left. Okay, but it's all starting from a default position, so it should work perfectly now. Engine priority, oh, I haven't got that one, not yet. Weapon priority engines. Weapon priority engines. I don't want it to miss up. This is why you have to find something to say that's quick and uncomplicated, like weapon engines maybe. Weapon priority shields. Weapon priority engines. Weapon priority shields. Now there might be a quicker way to get from one to the other, but it doesn't know what state your pips are in before it starts executing the command, so you have to always start from the default. It's the only way. Now if you want this state, I would suggest just saying weapon priority and just let it go there with two right hands. So we're not gonna tell it that we want a secondary on this one, because it's going to equally give priority to the engines and the shields. So I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm just going to say weapon priority. And on this one, I don't need this. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that one, and it's just going to go right. And I think it only needs to do it twice. Am I right? I think so. Not 3 times. So, engine priority weapon. Oh, I've got it the wrong way around. I'm so used to saying that. Weapon priority shields. Weapon priority engines. Weapon priority. Okay, it gives me a bit of both. But if I want weapon priority, just gives me what I want, weapon priority. But if I want to specify a second priority, then that's how I've got it set up. Why did it just say speeding there? Anyway, weapon priority engines. That's because I messed up my speech. Weapon priority engines. Personally, I would like to say something quicker. Instead of weapon priority engines, I just want to say you could even count them, sys as 1, engines as 2, and weapons as 3. So you could just say, if you want weapons with engines, you could just go 3, 2, and it would give priority to 3 and second priority to 2. 3, 1. And then system priority with engines would be 1, 2. Do you get what I mean? That'd be quicker. It depends, in the heat of battle, you don't want it not to obey you. So let's have a look. Let's duplicate weapon priority, and we're going to call it engine priority. I can categorize these myself later if I want. So when I say engine priority, it has to press the down key, but instead of 2 rights, it's just going to go up and up. Okay? So let's have a look at this one. Let me duplicate this one. So engine, I'm trying to do this from memory now. Engine priority, and I'm going to put shields. Now don't forget, you do the second one first, and I know that the shields are to the left, so it's left, left, and then I know the engines are up, so it's up, up, up. Okay? And make sure you spell this right, because if you don't spell it right, then when you come to say it, it's not going to work. So engine priority weapons is the other one. So again, weapons come first because they're the second priority. And then it's up for the engines. Okay. Engine priority. Okay, so it's just that. Engine priority, and it distributes the rest of the pips amongst the other systems. Engine priority weapons. Engine priority shields. Weapon priority shields. Engine priority weapons. Okay, so there's only one more to do. Well, I say one more. It's the shield priority now that we need. And then we're kind of covered for every situation. So let's switch this off and let's change it engine priority and duplicate that, and we're going to call it shield priority. Okay, and shield priority is simply left and left. Okay, and let's whoopsie, let's right click on this one, duplicate, and we're going to call this one shield priority engines. So we know that we need to do up first because that's where the engines are, and now the main priority, which is the shields. Okay, and now let's duplicate it one more time. Shield priority engines. Weapons. I'll have two commands in there, it's going to be weird. Okay, so shield priority weapons. Weapons is on the right hand side, so it's right and right. And this is correct, left, left, left. So let's test those. Shield priority weapons. Shield priority engines. Engine priority weapons. Weapon priority shields. Reset power.
Power reset.
Oh, that, yeah, of course. You could put, voice commands in. And if you don't want it saying weapon priority shields, you can just put in things like OK or affirmative or by your, what was it? By your command. Yeah, if any Cylon sounds like that, he'll be out of the, he'll be decommissioned. Yeah. Okay, so let's set up some quick, simple ones like the landing gear. Now again, the landing gear for me is numpad 5. It's just a weird way I have things set up. But it's numpad 5 to retract or deploy them. Again, if you want to go through with it, you can go through the conditional blocks and have it say, well, you can set up a variable like we did with the lights and have it say, you know, deploy landing gear, and it'll say, well, the landing gear is already deployed, or retract landing gear, it's already retracted. Depends how intelligent you want to make it, or how smart you want to make it sound. But in this case, I'm just going to do a very quick one, and it's just going to be landing gear. Okay, and that's all you say. And if they're up, they go down, and if they're down, they come up. It's as simple as that. And the key press is numpad 5. Now, of course, that's not going to work while I'm docked, so you'll just have to take my word that that's going to work. Now, the response will, if you have a vocal response, is going to be what? Landing gear. If you wanted to say landing gear down or landing gear up, you can't just go landing gear up, landing gear down, and then no matter which one you say, it'll execute that command. You're going to need two separate commands. So landing gear up, but again, you know, if the gear's already up, it'll put them down when you say up, unless you set conditions like we did with the lights. So we'll have it say retracting landing gear. Again, if you want it to say multiple responses, I've shown you how to do that already with the Hello Holly. So you can set up multiple different responses. Okay, so I've got landing gear up. Now I'm going to go duplicate, and I'm going to say landing gear down. As we know, it's exactly the same key, but the speech will be different. Now then, let's get a little bit more tricky. Tricky? Yeah, with that one. Obviously, the landing gear doesn't work here. So let's get this Python outside. I don't know if you can hear
Ship released.
the landing
Engines
gear.
engaged.
But let's move away from the pad, because otherwise, engine priority. There you go, I got to use one. So we'll just move away. Okay, now my landing gear is down. Now when I press it,
Landing gear retracted.
I can still hear it. But it wasn't retracted, was it? I mean, she said landing gear retracted, but it hasn't done it yet. Let's press it again. Now there's a delay.
Landing gear deployed.
Now, if we assume
Landing gear
that
retracted.
it takes just as long to deploy as it does to retract, we can time this. So as soon as I get a second on my clock here, I'm going to press the landing gear out and see how long it takes before she speaks.
Landing gear deployed.
Okay, that was
Landing
just
gear retracted.
slightly more than 5 seconds, but 5 seconds is fine. So, into the options, into audio, and let's see if we can take that bit off. There we go, landing gear deployed, landing gear retracted. So we removed those sounds from the game and put our own in. Okay. Okay, so the landing gear is in the default position. And if you know it's in, you're not going to say retract. So you're not going to say retract landing gear, are you? You could, but it would just sound wrong. So landing gear down, you can have it say deploying landing gear. Then we can have it pause for 5 seconds. And then we can have it say, oops, landing gear. It's just deployed it, I heard it, I think. Landing gear deployed, put a full stop so that it says it correctly. Okay, so it says it's doing it, then it waits the 5 seconds, and then it says it's done it. Alright, let's do it in here as well. Retracting, in other words, I'm in the process of. Now we pause for 5 seconds, it's already remembered. And then we add another sound saying landing gear down or retracted. I'm going to say down just because it's different. Okay. Now, this only works on the command deploy landing gear, so the reason it didn't do it is because I'm talking one word after the other. But yes, I can make it do that on multiple different ways of me saying it, like drop the landing gear, or gear down. I can set up multiple commands just by putting a semicolon between the speech. I know I've described that really badly. So landing gear down. So landing gear down is what I could say here, and then I could just go with colon gear down, colon drop the landing gear, or drop the gear, whatever. You can set up multiple different variations. But for now, let's just leave it as this. Landing gear down, landing gear up. Landing gear down.
Deploying landing gear. Landing gear deployed.
Nice. And you could hear the sound in between. Landing gear up.
Retracting landing gear. Landing gear down.
Down. Looks like I got that wrong. Landing gear retracted. But this one, it sounded like you couldn't hear anything after 4 seconds, so I'm going to switch it to 4. Okay, let me try that again. Landing gear down.
Deploying landing gear. Landing gear deployed.
Landing gear up.
Retracting landing gear. Landing gear retracted.
Okay, that goes well with the sounds. So another one is boost, which is simply tab. Now, this is obviously going to work nice and easy. Boost. But I could set up a command that says get me out of here, and that could be 4 boosts in a row. The problem is if you have different amount of pips to your engines, let's say 1, and then by the time it does the second boost or the third boost, there won't be enough power in the capacitor. Won't be able to do it. So the get me out of here command can be that it puts your pips to engines first, or it executes the engine priority command. Engine priority. So it would execute that command first and then boost. But what's the timings? How quick can you do it? What's the gap between each boost? I'll just manually do the first one. I'm just watching the second hand on the clock here. 8 seconds. Got one there. This is an A-rated Python, so it's going to differ depending on your ship. Okay, so I could boost again in 5 seconds time. Let me just double check that. Boost. Yep, 5 seconds and I can boost again. So, I'm going to set up a command. Get me out of here. Now the question is, how many boosts do you need? Well, I'm going to use 6. Don't know why, just 6. So the first thing it needs to do is execute another command. And the one I want it to execute is the engine priority one. But if it's going to get you out of there that means you're running. So you're going to need engine priority with shields, I think. That would make the most sense to me. And then you can click on again and just go to Voiceattack and execute another command which you've already set up, which is boost. Wait till this command completes before continuing. Yeah, we leave that. Okay, now we do a pause for 5 seconds, which is what I said. Okay, and we can right click and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate. How many have I got now? 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's do 5 of these, which is duplicate, 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 and duplicate. Alright, so now let's sort these out. Let's move the first one up. So it's going to boost, wait 5 seconds, boost, wait 5 seconds, same again. I might need another, oh no I don't, I got it right. Okay, so it's going to execute 6 boost commands. Now another thing you can do, before or after the engine priority comes in, it hits the boost for the first time and deploys a chaff. Now you can have it do that if you want. So if get me out of here can be, okay, I'm done bounty hunting, let's go. And you just want to escape the mass lock. And so you say, get me out of here. But you can have another command saying, get me out of here now. This could be just let's go. You could just change this to let's go, but get me out of here is panic. So I'm going to deploy a chaff here, which is num0. Okay, so it's going to boost, deploy some chaff, and then boost 5 more times. Alright, let's try it. Now there's my chaff on the left, you can see. I'm just going to face the station, although not dead on obviously, because that would be suicide going straight into that. Although you can still steer with the joystick while it's doing it. So let's see, let's move it to one side. Let's put the weapons on. So I've been fighting, I got my shields on, and I decided I've taken too much damage. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Yeah, just in case. Get me out of here. There's my chaff reloading. And of course I can steer. So you can set up all sorts of funky commands. But what if I clear the danger before the 6 jumps are up, and I just wanted to stop doing it now? Just, you know, maybe 3 boosts was enough. I didn't need it to do 6, just 3 was enough. If I want to escape mass lock, maybe I've already escaped it after a few boosts, and I didn't need the whole 6. So what we need to do is tell it really to stop doing that now. So for this particular command, get me out of here, we can just say we're safe. And then let's have, it's not a key press at all, let's have a voice attack sound. left-handing boost switching boost control. I'm just making this up as I go along. Switching boost control to manual. In other words, the ship is now not taking over the boost control anymore. And if I'm not mistaken, it's stop another command. Okay, and the one we want to stop is get me out of here. So it'll kill that command from executing anymore. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to say that command, get me, yeah, and after one boost I'm going to tell it that we're safe. Okay, so I'm going to put the priority back there, whatever. Get me out of here. We're safe.
Switching boost control to manual.
You see? No more boosts. Although I did lose another I did lose another chaff. You don't have to put the chaff command in. When it does the first boost, you can chaff manually if you think you need it. That might be a better way. I just put that in there to show that it can be done. Now there is something that I want to modify on those commands. So we're safe is good. So the other one, which is get me out of here. And by the way, once you start building up a lot of commands, if you need to search for them, just start typing it in here. Get, and there it is. And the reason this has come up is because it stops this command. It's inside here. Okay, it's there. So what I'm going to do here is remove the chaff. But just letting you know, you can put that in if you really need to. You can even have it drop a heatsink and chaff and, you know, whatever, just to keep you as safe as possible. But the other thing I need it to do before it boosts, or after the first boost I would say, is do a Control W, which for me, in my game, oops, don't wait 5 seconds, do it there. What that's going to do is it's going to put the throttle to 100%. So, wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Get me out of here. And there goes the throttle. It did do a chaff. How did it do a chaff? We're safe.
Switching boost control to manual.
I don't like the voice there. Switching boost control to manual. Sounds like Christopher Walken's sister. What happened there? Oh. Well, hang on a minute then. If it chaffed because I didn't press done, how did it know to do the left control and W key? Maybe it didn't. Okay, so in that case, when I say we're safe, I'm going to have it drop the power to 50%. No, I don't know what that is. I have a key for it, but I don't know what it is. I think I better have a look. So I'm going to go into my options. Yeah, I know I've got them nicely printed out, but still, while I'm here, I do have a key for 50%. So set it to 50. So left shift 7, okay, which I believe will put it in the blue zone. Oh, left shift. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to tell it to do that and just basically cruise. So switching to manual, it'll say, it'll kill that command, and then it's also going to do left shift 7, which is going to slow my thrust down. So, okay. Get me out of here. Wake up.
I'm here, Commander.
Notice how I can say outer as well. Get me out of here. because the confidence level of the voice attack is enough that it recognizes that. We're safe.
Switching boost control to manual.
Okay, so now you've got maximum agility because it switches to manual. Now I need to switch the engines off, and I don't have a command for that yet. And that's the X. Or you can have reverse thrust, which I assume is left shift 1, and it is. So, what would be the easiest command here? Engines off, or stop engines? Stop engines. You have to remember what command you've set up, but this is why I sometimes set up multiple ones. Stop engines, or stop the power, or no power, 0%, 0. I don't know whether I need to, if I'm going to say the word 0%, I don't know whether that will work, or whether I actually have to type it in like that. I believe I'll have to type it in. Maybe you should just mess around with that, but just stop engines is just simply X for me, and I want to add a sound command to that saying, now it takes a while for the engines to stop. Obviously they don't stop immediately, so stopping engines. There we go. Let's preview that.
Stopping engines.
Now is on this one, where is it? We're safe. This one. Nope. This one.
Switching boost control to manual.
I don't think there's much I can do here to change this. Switching boost control to manual. How about just switching to manual?
Switching to manual.
Let me try manual with an E. I know it's...
Switching to manual.
Oh, way out. How about with an O?
Switching to manual.
Yeah. Sorry, got your digital tongue in a twist there. Let's keep it as manual. Let's put double L, see if that changes anything.
Switching to manual.
Ah! Now, listen to the difference there. Two L's.
Switching to manual.
Now back to one L.
Switching to manual.
Yes. So, double L. You see, just tweaking the voice can do that. So, we're safe.
Switching to manual.
Stop engines.
Stopping engines.
I'm not touching anything, I'm just trusting the game. Alright. If I say the word BOOST, I could end up inside one of those things. So, I think that's a long enough video. We've covered some decent commands. Obviously the rest of the stuff you can probably set up on your own. Oh, let's do one final one, which is requesting the dock. So we know that it's for me the 1 key, and then I have to press EE, because this is EE, and then space. It's all about timing this one, because you can do it really quickly and it might not work. So for this one I'm going to get a pen and paper. Okay, this is how I'm going to work this one out. This is a nice platform, isn't it, with all the ships inside. Stop engines.
Stopping engines.
Go to sleep.
Okay, catch you later.
That's just in case anything happens, right? So it's the 1, so I'm going to press 1, and I'm going to write down 1. Then it's E, so E, then space, Okay, and then S, come down one, and then space,
Docking request granted.
S space, and then 1 to return back to the thing. Okay, so let me just cancel that. And let's see if we can set that up in here. Okay, so new command, and it could be get me a parking space, or you could just say request docking. You could say find me a landing pad, or you could say not find. How about this one? Book me a landing pad. That'll do. So request docking or book me a landing pad, and that will have the result of pressing 1, then pressing E, and pressing E again, then pressing space. Right now everything is timed to 0.03 seconds. That might be too quick, and if it is, it might have some unexpected results. So this is going to be a little bit of trial and error if it doesn't work the first time. Now, before it does all of this, I want it to say requesting docking. Now what you could do, you could have requesting docking set up as a command with this response, and then duplicate the command so that when you say book me a landing pad, it'll say landing pad booked. Okay, so you can set that up to have 2 different results if you want. It depends how much detail you want to go into. So I want to move this to the top. I wanted to say it and not have this ticked. Wait until the speech completes before continuing the command. In other words, it will not press any of these keys until it stops talking. You don't want it to do that. Or maybe you do. Or maybe you want something in between where you can just do time how long it takes it to say it. Okay?
Requesting docking.
I don't know, 1.5 seconds maybe. And then tell it that after half a second to start processing the command. So we can do that. We can tell it that to request the docking, and it'll start talking, and then after 1/2 second it'll start processing it. 1/2 second's not going to kill you. So I want to be, I don't know what it's going to do, so request docking.
Requesting docking.
Way too fast. Okay, so because you have to wait for this to come up, and also it wasn't here. It has to assume that you're going to be there. Let's try this again. Book me a landing pad.
Requesting docking.
Okay, so it did move, but it's way too quick. So we need to change the timing. So after it's pressed the 1 key, it's not a case of how long you hold it for. This isn't the thing. This is how long the key's pressed for. It's a case of putting in a pause. So we'll put a 1/2 second pause in and see what happens. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Ooh. It's happening so fast. It's happening so fast. I think there needs to be a pause in between every single command here. Obviously not 1/2 second, that's going to be too much. Let's change this to 0.8 seconds, see what happens there. What you can do as well is just delete all these commands and just do it step by step. So let's do that actually. That might be a bit better. Well, we know it's going to get to when you press 1. We know it's going to get there, so we can at least do the other 2 key presses, which is E to go to the next tab and E to go to the next tab. So all this is going to do is see if we end up on the contacts tab. That's all this is going to do. So let's go here and make sure we start at navigation. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Nope, too quick. So I'm going to pause this for, I don't know whether this is to blame or not. I'm going to pause it for 1.8 seconds and just see whether that's the thing that needs adjusting. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Ah, it's not that. Whoops, I did want to reset it. There we go. So, this is what you have to do sometimes. It's all about the timing. So let's change the timing here back to 0.8, which I think is okay. And then we add a little pause in between. Say, maybe only needs to be 1/3 of a second, something like that. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Oof, wow. This is not going very well. On Verity I have it set up, but I don't want to look there. I want to work this out for myself, because then that's what you'd have to do as well. So it's 1. I can press this really quickly. Maybe it's holding the key down for too long. Maybe it's holding the key down for too long. Let me have a quick look at this. I'm going to hold the E key. Oh no, it's 3/100ths of a second. Wow. Okay, well that should be alright. Let me change this then to another 0.8. I might have to look at Verity just to save time on the video. Am I pressing done all the time? Yikes. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Yeah, it's done it, but it was a tad slow. I have to remember to press done every time. Let's drop these down to 1/2 a second and see if we can get away with that. I think we will. It's just that it's a case of finding out how you can do it in the quickest time. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Okay, that was alright. So now let's add the next command, which is a space. So let's do a pause, and we'll just put it for 0.3, and the next key press will be the space. Okay, let's click that, click done, and see if that works. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Okay, so far so good. I don't know why I did that. And now we need to go to the S key. I'm going to see if we can get away with it without putting a pause there. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
We can. Okay, I'm going to push my luck even more now and see if I can press the space bar. And if I can, then I can press the 1 to remove the panel afterwards. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Docking request granted.
Boom. Okay, I just want to double check on that. So I'm riding along here. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Oh, I wasn't there, was I? Blurby. Is there a way to put yourself out the navigation every time? Because it does remember the last thing you were in. There's no way of actually that I know of. No, you have to be at navigation. Request docking.
Requesting docking.
Docking request granted.
Now maybe with some timing, that's not my pad, maybe with some timing you can tweak it, you know, mess around, just have a bit of a tweak. Where the hell's my pad? It's got to be down here, isn't it? So yeah, you can tweak the settings. Deploy landing gear. Oh no, what was it? Landing gear down.
Deploying landing gear.
So now that I've said that by mistake,
Landing gear deployed.
I know that I need to add that as a alternative voice command to do this same task.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
You could even now, what I'm doing there when I landed the ship was I kept pressing the down, 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 down. You could even have it do that if you wanted to, but again, it's height dependent. So how long do you tell it to keep doing that for? You can have it simulate joystick buttons as well, I believe. But you know, I'm not going to cover that here. So I've gone through some basic stuff and some advanced stuff. How about this one? One last command, going into the hangar, which is simply S for down and then space, presuming you're on starport services. So simply it would be go to hangar, okay, and it would be down and then space, and I won't put a voice command in on this one. Go to hangar. Okay, that puts us back to where we started, and this will conclude the video. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, again, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them. And yeah, good luck. And again, don't forget to check on hcsvoicepacks.com because they got some brilliant stuff. And all you have to do with those is go through the commands and set up your keys. I think I touched on that in the first video, customizing the voice packs to your own keyboard layout, but if you can't do it, don't know how to do it, then let me know and maybe I'll put up a video on that one. Alright, that's it. Commander Rusty Dog signing off, and goodbye.